All right, thank you for tuning in to 26 Sports. This is your host, Mike Reza, and today I'm on with the very special, future legendary guest, the one, the only, as he likes to call himself, the most explosive man in boxing, Blair the Flair Cobbs. How you doing today, bro?
Absolutely, absolutely. It is the one and only, the most exciting man in boxing, Blair, the Flair Cobbs. And it's been a pleasure. It is a pleasure to be on 26 Sports. Live, baby. Let's get it.
Let's get it, man. So let's get into it, man. It's been a while since we've seen you in the ring. You know, and we know the reasons with everything that happened over the last year. How excited are you, man, to get back in that ring? Because I know you were supposed to be on in December and that didn't happen, and now it's going to be a year coming up. So how excited are you to get back in that ring?
I'm extremely excited. Every moment is just all about fighting, fighting, fighting. Let's get in the ring. Let's make it happen. Let's get the crowd what they truly deserve. Let's give boxing what they truly deserve. A true champion, a true sportsman, a true showman, and bring boxing back to its true colors as the
De-
number one boxing, the number one fighting sport in the world.
Definitely, and man, you bring a lot of energy, a lot of confidence, a lot of aura, a lot of swag, everything, but you back it up. That's the one thing that I love. I don't care how confident, how exciting a person is, but you got to back it up, and you definitely do. So, where did that come from, man? Like, all that energy that you have before you even step in the ring, and then you seem like to get another boost of energy once you do step in there. Yep. Hold on here. Froze up again. Give us 1 second. There you go.
I'm back on.
You're
I'm
back.
back on. Sorry about that,
No
guys.
problem. Okay, so again, man, you have natural energy, charisma, and everything, but then you step in the ring and you have even more. Where does that natural energy and all that confidence come from?
I don't know. I've always been just just unbelievable energy. I've always had that like ever since I was born. I don't know how my mother and father even dealt with me, honestly. Like cuz I'm a wrecking ball. I can literally be running off the walls. Like so yeah, it's just been one of those things. And it gets even crazier when I take some coffee. You would think I'm on like some really strong drugs.
Yeah, man. I mean, I remember the first time I seen you, and I was like, "Yo, this kid is just exciting." I was like, "He hasn't even stepped in the scale yet, and I'm already pumped to see him fight." And then I seen you in the ring, and I was like, "Oh, okay." And then I'm gonna get into this because I heard the story. Everything from where you went, where you came from, how you got here. Now you spent some time in Mexico. Did you already have a love for boxing before you went there? And if you did it just like explode while you're in Mexico, or did that just come over time?
Well, I don't know, man. It's like this. I've never really actually stepped into a real boxing ring. Like we would put the gloves on and we would bop. I started like a little fight club in my little school in Beverly Hills, and
Mhm.
and we seen how that was, and I was like, that was fun. I was beating a couple guys up, and I was good at promoting it. Which was one of the bigger things. I was promoting fights in that school, so other people from other schools were coming at lunchtime. I don't know how these kids get there, but they did. Next thing you know, it was like a big spectacle. Like before it even could get like shut down, it was a big spectacle. You're like, where's everybody? Like at lunchtime, everybody just disappeared, and they like, oh, everybody's there, seeing the attraction with me fighting the biggest and toughest kid that they can possibly have in the school. And it was just one of those things, you know. And I never actually stepped into a ring or a boxing gym until I got to Mexico. In Mexico, it was a pretty tough environment. It was a big change. I had to change my whole life because of the circumstances that was surrounding the fact that I was out there. And in that time period, I was like, you know what? What's the most reckless thing that I could possibly do? You know, me and like one other friend, my friend named Rodney. We was just like, you know what? I know what's the most reckless thing we could do today. Let's go to a boxing ring.
Yeah.
Let's go and see if we can fight. It's like, and I was like, you know what? That's a good idea. Let's go. And it just from that day forward, it was all about boxing, boxing, boxing.
Yeah, man. I mean, I heard the story and I was just like, man, in Mexico, like, and where as personally, where I like felt a connection is you got the fro. When I was a kid, my fro was bigger than yours. So I was like, I know when he got in there, I was like, they probably didn't even see you as anything different. They're just like, oh, he's got afro. Okay, come on. Because what a lot of people don't know is a lot of Mexicans got that fro, that big fro like that. So I was like, you probably walked in and they're like, oh, he's one of us. Come on, get in here. So I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
and I
That
seen,
long fro.
yeah, me. I mean, I could find a picture somewhere, and my thing was banged up. My thing though is that it was curly, like hardcore curly hair. That's why I just keep it so short now, because man, I gotta comb it, and I'm over there like getting beat up. I was like, man, I'd rather get shot than to comb my hair every morning. So yeah, once I seen the curly hair, I was like, oh, I know he fit in right away. So what was the whole experience for you in Mexico the time that you spent? Because I know you spent some good amount of years there. So what was that experience for you personally?
It was a special experience because like it put me in a position where it don't matter what language you speak, it don't matter where you come from, whatever that you are, it's all about boxing
Yeah,
when you're there. So I speak boxing, and
yeah,
boxing works out for everybody. And I learned how to change how to like come in as a bad guy and win the crowd
yeah,
every single time. Because remember, like I'm like a foreigner coming from a different place, you know, with absolutely no skills and no abilities. Well, I have a lot of ability,
yeah.
but I had like no skills. I had to win the crowd, and then next thing you know it, I became the hometown favorite. I was honestly, Canelo was on my undercard. You know, as an amateur, we was fighting in the same cars in the same city in the same boxing arena, and yeah, it was a big thing. You know, they called me Arturo, no, not Arturo, Apollo, because
Oh,
you know, Apollo
Creed.
Creed,
Yeah.
because I had that bounce style, you know, and and you know and like at the time my name was Romero. I was under the alias Romero, and I just did my thing every single time out. It was We had like fights every week, you know. So I had got a lot of experience fighting each week, you know. And those fights aren't regular fights.
Yeah.
They're knockout, drag out, like you know, like you look if you get finished, you get finished there.
Yeah.
Like that's it.
It,
So I learned how to fight in Mexico.
yeah, man. And like I said, when I heard that story, I was like, man, that's crazy. Like he spent that time, and then I seen you had to have gotten some of your charisma from there too, just to know that you went in, as you said, sort of like a villain. People were looking at you like, oh, he's not Mexican, he's not from here, and then you came out like, man, they love you. And the first time I seen you fight, I want to say it was on one of the cards in LA, and you walked out, and it was like, oh, he's here, everybody knows you. And I was like, man, you get fans in certain places, but it was like I'm seeing every race of fans were cheering you on. And I was like, oh, okay, this kid already has a following, and it's the first time I've seen him fight. So yeah, man, the first time I seen you fight, I was like, all right, I'm hooked. And then my dad, once I told him, I was like, yeah, he grew up, spent a lot of time in Mexico, in Guadalajara. He goes, oh yeah. He goes, you could see some of that in the way he fights. He's got some sort of Mexican style in him. So my dad was always wanting to watch you too. So yeah, we watch you every time you come on. Always, you're just exciting, man. You know, and you got a great following already. But as you said, you had Canelo on your undercard. How does it feel now knowing that, you know, he's top pound for pound fighter in the world, but coming up, he was behind you? How does it feel though, just seeing him just, you know, succeed as a person?
Oh, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. It'll be great to one day get in that ring with him. You know, we there's always been talks from the very beginning about me fighting him. When he first started, because like a lot of the fighters, like, man, you should just go ahead and derail him. He's just knock him off before he even gets started. You know, because he was just fighting a bunch of bums in Mexico and everything. And like I didn't turn pro. I stayed amateur. You know, because I didn't understand the whole like pro game and all that stuff, and I didn't really have a solid like a training situation. You know what I'm saying? I was kind of like on my own and just winning fights like that. You know, I stayed undefeated, but I was winning fights.
Yeah.
You know, kind of just doing my own thing. You know, and I went to their gym before. You know, Oscar Larios had brought me to their gym because I was a big fan of Oscar Larios, and I became friends with Oscar Larios' father, who trained me in Mexico, Chololo Larios, and it was just a big thing, you know. And I was in certain gyms, and honestly, I don't even know how like I ate, because it was just like I was in the gym from morning to night. Like there's a lot of things I don't even understand. Like when I think about how me and my friend was growing up in the gyms and boxing in Mexico, because it was just boxing all day.
Yeah.
You know, it was incredible.
Yeah, man, and that's just the focus you have. I could see you're always focused when you're in the gym or doing something. So that's probably what it was. You were just so focused that you're like, I remember doing this, and this. Yo, what Cat Williams say? Did I eat today, man? Did I eat today? Like, what's going on? So you just all you remember is I punched this guy.
Is like,
I remember
like the
punching
main
him.
thing I remember.
I remember punching him, hitting him. Did I eat though? No, I think I did. Like so, but yeah, man, and that's, you know, you got that mentality that I could see. Like you're fun, you're exciting, everything. But when it comes to fighting, man, you're definitely ready to go. So, you know, as you said, you stayed amateur a long time. You kept that record. Once you went pro, at one point, did it feel like the boxing game slowed down, like the fight where you're starting to figure out, oh, here comes that punch? Like you already seen it coming before it came at you. Well, what fight or what point did you realize that?
Towards the back end of my amateur background in Philadelphia, I started becoming like unbeatable, like untouchable. Like around like 22 years old, 21, 22, 23 years old, I was literally untouchable, you know, and incredible all over, and everybody out. You know, it was dangerous getting in there with me, because I would left hand and put anybody to sleep, you know, real fast too. It was horrible. It was like it was almost like a play thing. Everybody would be like, "Hey, all right, let's go ahead and knock him out now." Okay,
Yeah.
boom, just, you know. So but like in that early time period, once I started getting my fundamentals together, everything was really sharp. I was able to see things moving, and I was able to maximize my athletic ability. There was nothing that could like get any guy in the ring with me, like at all. There was no amount of money. If people, and 9 times out of 10, people will call Philadelphia and they'll call the gyms and be like, okay, who's this guy? This and that, and be like, look, absolutely not. You absolutely not. Do not take that fight. And I went nearly 3 years. I went 3 years without a fight. After just a couple fights, all I needed was a couple fights. I got to like 4-0, and then there was nothing for years. For years, it was a very, very tough period in time, whereas though I had to really like kind of get away from the people that were around me in Philadelphia and try to branch out and do my own thing and find my own place in boxing. And that's really why like I'm just getting started compared to like a lot of other people. If I had got started and everything was moving smoothly, uh, there wouldn't be no Errol Spence or Keith Thurman,
Okay.
Terrence Crawford. There won't be no guys like that. Trust me.
Okay,
Those
okay.
guys will be long gone.
Okay, I love the confidence, man. Love the confidence. So, yeah, at this point, you're undefeated right now. You're with Golden Boy, man. How did that happen? How did they get you signed? And did you feel like a big relief once you went to a promoter like that, knowing I'm gonna get the fights I need now? I'm gonna get work.
Absolutely, it was definitely a blessing. Honestly, I give it all. I give all the honor and glory to God for getting me this far. Well, what happened was right in Philadelphia. Hopkins was my mentor, and he would take me out and everything. We would talk and work out together, and he'll take me out to go eat. We would go to his house and hang out, and it was a lot of things that we would do personally. And it got to a point where it's like, look, we can't do nothing with you because you have a big extensive layoff. So we need you to get a good management under your belt and get started in boxing again. And that's when I just went off on my journey. I went off on my journey. I left Philadelphia and went straight to Vegas uh, with absolutely nothing. With absolutely nothing. I was like, you know what, pack everything up and drive to Las Vegas with a car that may or may not make it. And that's where you have to just live off a prayer each and
Yeah,
every second. Each and every second, it was just a prayer, prayer, gift, miracle, miracle, miracle. And very, very shortly, I found I found Bones Adams, and then from Bones Adams, he helped me get to a major manager, in Prince Ranch, Greg Hanley, and things just kind of spiraled from there. And it was very, very fast. Everything
yeah,
happened very, very fast. I came from being nothing to finally get my first fight, in a 3 year layoff, to becoming Nevada State Boxing Hall of Fame Prospect of the Year in 2018. Then next thing you know, we're able to come back and revisit the deal with Golden Boy
yeah.
Promotions. Then we got signed with Golden Boy Promotions, and one fight led to another,
Yeah.
and next thing you know it, you have the most exciting man in boxing in 2021.
Yeah, definitely, man. And as I say, I seen it coming. I seen you coming, and I was just like, man, this kid's got it all right now. Like he's coming up, but especially with being with Golden Boy, because you have that whole group of young fighters right now, and then the little group of veterans that are making noise, and you look at it and you see, you, Joshua Franco, Jojo Diaz, Virgil Ortiz, Ryan Garcia, and it's like, man, these guys are leading this pack, and then you at 147, it's like you got somebody at every weight pretty much. So when you see fighters from your promotions doing well, how much more does that motivate you when you step into the gym and then eventually step back into the ring?
Well, it's wonderful. It's wonderful to see everyone doing well. It was great to see Jojo Diaz capture a world title. Even though it happened at the hands of one of my guys in Philly.
Yeah.
Like okay, okay. But it was great. It's just great to be in the midst and be a part of a wonderful franchise as Golden Boy Promotion, honestly. And the Zone Network,
Yeah.
I cannot forget the Zone Network for being great and giving me the opportunity to show my thing.
Definitely. And real quick, I got people here asking. Clay Stevenson saying what's up, Blair. Marquise John saying
What
what's
up? What
up.
up?
James Montero also as well saying what's up, man. So you got a good following here, man. Any idea on when the next fight's gonna be? I know Golden Boy got a big slate of fights coming. Any idea on when your next fight is?
On a surprise fight. just to get me in there as soon as possible. Possibly the 13th of February would be great to show up and show out and get something quick and get done, and then start moving on to bigger and better things. We have a very, very big lineup. There's a lot of good competition out there for Blair to Flair to go ahead and beat up on. One thing's for certain. One thing's for certain. Out of the whole lineup of fighters, I'm the one. You know, I'm the one on the level, and the reason why is that I might not have the credentials and the background and all of these fights. You know, I don't have a whole lot of fluff fights. You know, I'm not groomed with 30 easy opponents and then one good opponent. No, like lately it's been one hard opponent after the next. You know, and I've been exceeding expectations. You know, there's very few people out there that are willing to take those chances. There are very few fighters out there that are fighting elite fighters, or even fighters of their same caliber. You know, and I fought multiple undefeated fighters in my weight class at my speed, honestly. And it's something to speak volumes, because it's a lot of fighters out there that's not really taking the best fights possible. They're kind of taking guys that are kind of already on the way out and things like that. And that's where I exceed. So when it comes time for Blair to Flair to fight another top contender, I'm ready.
And that's one of the things that I always tell people in boxing that I really appreciate from Golden Boy. The majority of the prospects that come from Golden Boy, they've fought at least 3, 4, 5 tough guys that had a legitimate shot to beat him. You know, had a shot to stop him or something. And when they get to that title fight, where some people say, "Oh, well, he fought this person, but you know, who's that?" But they don't really know, like, oh, that they went through some wars. Like, my thing where I seen it is Josh Franco. When he fought Maloney last year, so many people were like, "Oh, Maloney's gonna run through him." I'm like, "No, Franco's been through some tough fights against tough fighters." And when he won, people were like, "Oh, wow, what an upset." No, not really, man. Golden Boy puts their guys in there with some top competition, you know, and it's sink or swim there. So I see that with you, with the fighters they see. Like, when they would match you up, every time it's, "Oh, I like that fight for Blair. That's a good test." Oh, again, oh, okay, I like that fight. It's like you're not getting babied with someone that's 9-8, 10-12, or whatever. It's, oh, this guy's only lost once or twice. Oh, he hasn't lost it. Oh, he's never been dropped, and oh, that's Blair's opponent. Oh, okay, well, here we go. Let's see what this kid got. And then you come out, and as you said, you exceed expectations, you know. So definitely, that's one of the things I think that I like from Golden Boy, and I like when I see the fighters that go to Golden Boy, because I know that you're not going to put you in there with some easy work. You know, you're going to go in there and get tested and see how you come out.
Absolutely. Win, lose, or draw. It's all about the excitement for the fans and grooming these fighters to get to the elite level. Hey, Jojo Diaz had took a loss, and then he bounced back, and he came back and still captured a world title. People need to understand that we need to go beyond this idea of being Mayweather and trying to just hold on to your undefeated record. I don't want to fight you. I don't want to fight you. No. Let's see what happened. Give the crowd what they deserve. If you're already at the elite level, why are we not seeing Earl Spence and Terrence Crawford? Something's wrong there. You know what I'm saying? And tell you the truth, like, if they keep playing around, I'm gonna walk right past them. Like, they're not big draws. They're not drawing that much of a crowd. Like, they're not inspiring me. So I know damn well they're not inspiring too many people when it comes to their imagination. It might be, yes, it's the hardcore fans, but you have, like, boxing isn't going anywhere if you're not inspiring people's imagination and captivating a crowd bigger than just the diehard boxing fans. You know, so right now at the top of the creme de la creme, you have Blair to Flair, you have Ryan Garcia, and hell, you even have Devin Haney at times. But that's where it comes from. You know, right now we have so much crazy stuff going on in boxing that, like, it's been so dull. for so long that like YouTubers are able to just make it.
Yeah. Yeah.
guys that never fought a day in their life, but they talk some kind of shit. You
Yeah.
know, they got some kind of following, and they work, and that works.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think boxing deserves a better champion, don't you?
Yes, definitely. And
Yeah.
speaking of that YouTube one, that was one of the most disrespectful things to me as a hardcore fan was when Jake Paul fought that guy Gibb or whatever, and you look at who else was on that card, and you're like, they put that fight over Daniel Roman and MJ, over JoJo and Tevin Farmer. What's wrong with you guys? Like, we wanted to see those fights over this dude, this little short guy fighting Jake Paul. The only thing I will say in Jake Paul's favor is he seems to honestly be taking it serious. And like I laughed about it I was like, damn, I didn't know he could throw a jab. Like I was impressed. He knew how to throw a jab. Oh, he had a decent right hand. I was like, okay, he's really trying. Like, yeah, he runs his mouth and does all this stuff, but he's really trying as to these other guys that step in there and get knocked flat on their face. I'm like, all right, man. I'll at least give you that, Jake. You're really trying. You're really training. You're really running, and he's really, bringing some fans with him. But yes, guys like you, as you said, Devin Haney, people like that have actually been in boxing for so long, they are the ones that deserve that platform. I'd rather hear about you, Virgil Ortiz, Shakur Stevenson, these guys who I see and I'm like, oh man, I love watching them fight, as opposed to, hey, you hear Jake Paul's gonna fight, hey, you hear Conor McGregor's gonna fight Manny Pacquiao. It's like, come on, dude, like we just seen what happened when Conor fought somebody that could stand up and box with him, and I don't care what Jake Paul does. I really don't. Like, I mean, when he goes in there against a legitimate fighter, he's gonna get hurt. Like, let him step in there with Alexander Usyk at cruiserweight, and let me see what happens. Let's see what happens there. Like, put him in there with one of those guys. But
I'm sure he's gotten hurt plenty of times just being in the gym. I mean, he trains at one of my gyms in Vegas.
Oh yeah,
and it's not easy. He definitely broke his nose. Definitely broke his nose. He's definitely in there working as hard as he can and giving as much as he's getting.
Yeah.
So in that retrospect, I give nothing but love and respect to that. But that also speaks volumes.
Yes.
There's a difference between Blair to Flair and everybody else. It speaks volumes because how bad are you working? How hard are you working? How smart are you working?
Yep.
Because in this boxing game, like we already know to this day, like, and especially me when I first started like my professional career, it didn't matter how good you were. How much are you willing to go for your boxing career? A lot of these fighters out here are not putting in all the work that they possibly can. They're not creating their persona. They're not trying to learn how to be a better promoter when it comes to promoting themselves. And also we have promoters that are not promoting fighters to the fullest extent as they probably should. Long gone the days of Mike Tyson and Don King and all of these great characters of back in the day. But we need to start learning how to become better at what we do. How do we promote these fights to become attractions to where we can get those major fights happening? How can we make it happen? How can we make another Floyd Mayweather that's better? Because Floyd Mayweather was great at what he did, but when it came to after all the showmanship before the fight, during the fight, it's like, God damn, man. You almost want to throw all your liquor in the ring. We have to have it be exciting.
Yeah.
We have to have even playing fields with fighters, and we have to be more respectful towards the fighters. See, there's one thing I noticed about the whole UFC world. Now, mind you, the UFC world is so small. It's so small. Like fighters are already making it, and they only got 5 fights. Like, oh yeah, he's 2-3, but he's fighting for for the UFC World Championship. Like, okay,
Yeah.
but but with that being said, it's like that whole situation when it comes to UFC, they never really completely frown upon fighters for taking a loss. So
Yeah.
then it gave these fighters more opportunity to have the courage to fight these big fights, and knowing that like there will be other opportunities, and the world isn't going to just shame you just for having one loss
Yeah.
on your resume. We need to start reevaluating how we think about fights and how we think about boxing, and that's where Blair Flair comes to make that big change. I don't call myself the best fighter in the world. I don't call myself, oh yeah, I'm untouchable.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do this all day and then tap. Like, no, I'm the most exciting man in boxing, and that's what we need to go to. I'm on the next benchmark when it comes to boxing. This is where everybody else needs to be. Everybody else needs to be here or exceeding me. Period. There's just not enough promotion, and it's just not enough
Yep.
for it to sustain boxing. If we continue to let ourselves just kind of deteriorate when it comes to promoting, when it comes to promotional side, and when it comes to the fighting side, then of course we're going to have more YouTubers. We're going to have more old extra old fighters coming out of retirement to fight each other and hold each other right quick and give each other a couple love taps. Don't knock me out type of fights. No, we need better.
Yeah.
And boxing deserves a true champion, just like Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
We need people that can inspire the imagination of the people. So that's where Blair Flair comes in with his woo, and that's just how it works.
Yeah. Definitely. And as you said, the zeros, the O's, UFC, MMA, you got so many of these guys who, if you watch when they get to that title shot and then win, a lot of them have 4 or 5 losses, but they go on this run from contender to champion where they've won 7 or 8 in a row, and you're like, man, he really did it. And then you look at boxing, 2 or 3 losses, you're like, oh yeah, hey, put him on the Friday card at 5 o'clock as opposed to the main event or co-main. But when you look back at, as you said, Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, all these guys, Muhammad Ali had 5 losses. Muhammad Ali is one of my favorite fighters of all time. He had 5 losses. Mike Tyson lost many times. So many of these, Roberto Duran, Sugar Ray Leonard, all these guys had more than 1 loss on the record. But when you talk about it, it's like, man, those are the best guys I ever seen in the ring. But they lost a few times. Thomas Hearns was knocked out viciously a couple times. But he's one of the most well-known fighters throughout the world. And it's like, come on, where do we switch? And yes, the Mayweather era had something to do with it, but as well, Mayweather put in that work to get to the point that he was at. He went, that Pretty Boy era that he had, he fought everybody at those weights. He was expected to lose against Diego Chico Corrales, and he put on a show. Like, that was the fight I tell people when I'm like, you know what, once I seen him beat Corrales the way he did, I didn't think anybody was going to beat him. He had close calls, but, he never lost according to the judges. Some people will see it different, and it's I understand, but he fought everybody on his way up to earn the Money Mayweather, and as you said, the persona, the energy that he brought, he made people, it was either you're paying to watch him win or you're paying to hope he loses, and that's how he kept pushing himself forward. But as you said, he knew how to promote himself. He knew what to do, how to get fans either for him or against him, but he knew he was going to draw just enough to where people wanted to watch him fight. And that's true. Now we don't have that. The people use social media, but they don't use it to promote their fights. They use it to, oh, I'm in the gym. Okay, but I haven't seen you fight in a year and a half. Oh, I'm in the gym. Okay, but when's your next fight? Oh, I'm just training. I'm staying ready. Okay, well, who do you want to fight? And I'm just here. I'm the best fighter in the world. Okay, but you haven't fought anybody yet. Like, what's going on? So to hear you say you're not the best fighter, you're saying you're the most exciting fighter, is a breath of fresh air, because you're not calling something out yet You know you want to get there, but you're not there yet. But you're gonna say, "Hey, I'm the most exciting. Someone come and prove me wrong," and that's a breath of fresh air and something that I know boxing fans love. I got people here saying "preach" to what you were saying this whole time right now while you were talking. They're saying "preach," man. And it's the truth. You're spitting nothing but facts right now, and I appreciate that as a fan and someone that watches and covers the sport extensively.
Absolutely, absolutely. So it's been a learning experience,
Yeah,
going through this whole professional boxing world.
yeah,
So I don't know where it's gonna go from here on. I know that like Floyd Mayweather wanted boxing to be more of a sport,
hmm
and it just doesn't work. Pushing boxing into sport where it's all about statistics, like as if it's football.
yeah,
Oh yeah, how many home runs did he? Boxing is not that. Boxing is too much. It's too fluid. It's too many things going on in boxing. The best fighter can lose to the worst fighter on any given day. Anybody can get caught with a lucky shot.
yeah.
Anybody can not be feeling good on that day. There's going to be days when Flair isn't going to be the most exciting man in boxing, but he's going to get up and he's going to dust himself off and he's going to give another crowd pleasing performance in the next run. It's all about constantly evolving and being better. And like humanity is not really built on this ideology of perfection. It just doesn't exist. If you're perfect in boxing, you didn't fight nobody. Like period. Like you know what I'm saying? Like you didn't really get challenged, and that's the problem. Right now, we have a lot of fighters that do not want a challenge. They just don't want to be challenged.
Yeah.
And if they happen to accidentally come up with a fight that poses it more than a threat than they were anticipating on, okay, let's go ahead and rob them right quick.
Yeah.
just 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 try to survive the rounds. We're gonna rob them. We're gonna get out of here. It's
Well,
that's ridiculous.
yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of that over the last few years, definitely. So, yeah, man. And as I said, you're spitting straight facts right now. You're saying nothing but the truth. And yeah, we've seen that so many times where the fight's a little tougher, and they somehow get the nod. You know, things happen, but still, I mean, it's truth, and it's refreshing to hear it from a fighter in your position who's got so much to gain, but also so much to lose at the point that you're at in your career. You're on the cusp, of fighting for title eliminators and world title shots real soon, and
Yeah.
one, two losses could derail that. But you're saying, hey, you got to challenge yourself. You got to put yourself in that position regardless, because at the end of the day, you could go 15, 16, 17 and 0. You never challenged. You run into a guy who's going to resist the punch you throw, and it's like, all right, now what's your plan B? What's your plan C? What else are you going to do? And it's, hey, make sure I still get this call on the judges real quick, just to make sure I get through. But one of these guys you're going to eventually fight is going to be the one to catch you and put you to sleep at some point. So definitely love hearing this response from you and how you're coming forward. So I know that's why you also have a big following, on social media and everywhere, because of the way you speak and because of what you actually do. You're actually there saying and doing everything that you do. You walk the walk as you always have, since you were a kid, pretty much. So definitely thank you for that, man.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's always a pleasure to excite the fans, excite the people. It's people like you. It's people that take the sport to the next level and bringing people like me up front and showing the fans what different take people have in boxing.
Definitely, yeah. And again, we love it, man. So you did say February 13th is a shot that you would be on that card, right? That card's Yeah, that card is stacked as it is right now. If you add you on there, man, that thing's gonna go through the roof. I mean, we have Jojo Diaz defending his title, Castano and Teixeira, and Beck is gonna fight after his fight fell out. So that's a great card. And if you put you on there, man, they're gonna have to watch it from fight one to the main event and not skip anything because that's a great looking card right now.
That's what Golden Boy has to do. They got a lot of work to do, coming back from this the nonsense. The nonsense. The craziness of this pandemic and like everything.
Yeah.
The election, all of that stuff. And we're just trying to rebuild from all the politics and all that crazy stuff, crazy commotion going on. And hopefully things will get back on its way and boxing will be having a full swing and back to like just back to just everything, back to being everything about boxing. Hopefully we can start seeing some more crowds in more cities outside of Texas and Florida. Hopefully we can start seeing boxing back to normal, sports back to normal, and things getting back on its way.
Yeah, and from what I'm hearing, May is the option for so many people in Vegas. So possibly that's when it could be, with all the vaccination rollouts and everything. Maybe by then there's so much more done, and hopefully the virus slows down to a point where we could get back to some point of normalcy. I know it's going to be a while before we're back fully, but to somewhat have something of normal to be back, that would be it right there. So I know you said you don't like to call nobody out or anything. Any particular fighter, I'll do it this way, any particular fighter, past or present, that you would have loved to share the ring with at one time?
Man, there's a lot of them. As far as present fighters right now today, I know it's not going to be a big money fight. You know what I mean? Like, Terrence Crawford is not selling a damn thing. Like, it might as well be like 70-30 or something. Like, but I would love to fight Terrence Crawford. I've been studying him a lot, and that would be a great fight. That would be a great fight to prove myself truly in the boxing world, especially to the hardcore fans. Having a great fight with Terrence Crawford. Hell, we already exchanged words. He's calling me out, like, So that's always great. It's just the top tier level fighters. It's just where I want to be at. Somewhere along the line, I would love to have a final chapter fight with Canelo Alvarez. And that'll be great.
Okay.
It'll kind of be full circle.
Yeah.
It'll kind of be full circle. From the beginning, back around to the beginning, and go ahead and just win that fight, and that'll be great. That'll be the next iteration of boxing right there.
Like your big legacy fight.
And, big legacy fight. That next thing you know, the next Mayweather is Blair to Flair, basically.
Okay.
Things like that. I don't know. It's a lot of good fighters out there, but those are the ones I'm focused on. I'm really just focused on the elite fighters. There was this Cuban guy. I forget his name. He fought Sean Porter.
Ugas. Jordanis Ugas.
Ugas.
Yeah.
Ugas. I would love to knock him off.
He was just elevated to super champion in WEA yesterday.
Like, I would love that fight. I would love the Mikey Garcia, and what's that other guy that Mikey Garcia fought? Jesse Vargas. Please put me in a ring with Jesse Vargas.
Okay. I like that idea. I like that fight.
One of the main fights that I definitely have to have. I have to have this fight. Hopefully Golden Boy and myself and the people over there from PBC could possibly pull it off sometime at the end of this year or like maybe sometime next year. But I would love the Adrian Broner fight.
Oh wow!
Because that's where I will really shine. I got so much material on his ass. It's gonna be fun. you'll have to watch a whole segment. It's gonna be like nothing but comedy, nothing but like entertainment, and just a whole lot of fun. I would love that fight with Adrian Broner. I see that he's working very, very hard. It looks like he's becoming more disciplined, and I've always been a guy that's. I'm not the guy that was against him. I've never been against Adrian Broner. I always wanted him to win. I always wanted him. I'm like, God, please just win one of these fights. God damn it, like please,
Yeah.
you know. And I've always been on his side because I see that he's doing everything possible to make boxing as best as it can be. You know,
Yeah.
he's putting on big fights. He's taking big opponents, and he's putting in a lot of work inside and outside the ring when it comes to promotion.
Yeah.
Whether
Definitely.
that's just who he is
Yeah.
or that's just some shit that he's doing right now. So either way, it's a great attraction, and I would love to see that fight. If there's out of all the fights, that's the number one fight I would definitely like to see. So that's the fight that I definitely want.
Okay, and that would, depending on how the year goes for him, if that could be fixed, that would be a great fight. I mean, it would be, man, I can't even think of it. I'm just thinking of all the talk and everything that'd be going on leading up to that fight because that would just be, man, nonstop going, you
The
know.
biggest attraction. It would be the biggest attraction. Like it would be bigger than anything in boxing today. Like seriously, like you probably wouldn't get that much attraction since a Mayweather and Pacquiao fight. You know, and the problem with Pacquiao and Mayweather when they finally got down to business is that like there was so much talk about it that they didn't even promote the fight,
Yeah,
and people had kind of got tired of it. I don't want to get to a point where we gotta constantly like, oh no, we're waiting till money gets bigger. No, let's have the fight right now.
yeah,
You know, while we're still young, let's make it happen. You know, let's not wait until okay, I'm I'm 38 and he's 39 and we're just like okay, let's finally just make it happen. No, let's make these fights happen while we're still young, while we're still lively, and while we still can put on a major performance. That fight with Mayweather and Pacquiao, that that there was a 7 year, 8 year gap of okay, when we're going to make that
yeah,
fight happen. Everybody's waiting for it, and I don't want that to happen for like the next superstars. And it seems like it's happening again with this Terrence Crawford and Earl Spence. And Terrence Crawford's kind of like put on on a shelf by himself, which is really really bad. Which is really tough for him. Maybe it's because of promotions. I don't care what it is. All I care is that like these people work together because
yeah,
there's plenty of money out there. Why not just make it happen? Why do we have Terrence Crawford, which is like a lot of people are saying that might be the pound for pound fighter out there? Why do we have him fighting nobodies?
yeah.
It looks like he's getting bored out there. Like
Mhm.
in no time flat, like Flair will go ahead and knock him off, like because he's tired. He's tired of boxing already. Like man, let's see him flourish.
Yeah,
Let's see them flourish. Let's see these great fighters flourish in their time,
yeah,
and like that's one thing that I always stress. So like I just really hope that people kind of just make it happen, make it
yeah,
happen, make it happen. Why we waiting?
yeah.
Why we waiting for these fights?
Definitely, and
You know,
man,
Deontay Wilder, and what's
Joshua,
the other guy from London? And
Joshua.
Joshua. Anthony Joshua is scared. Everybody's scared of Deontay Wilder's right hand of death.
Yeah,
Stop it. Let's just make the fight happen.
yeah. The
Let's just make the fight happen.
the only one that looks to not be scared was Tyson Fury, pretty much. But
Yeah, Tyson Fury, and even he hit the deck
yeah,
like a couple times, and then had to come back like 200 pounds overweight.
yeah,
Like it was incredible.
yeah,
You know what? I'm going to come in there at least 70 more pounds heavier. Like that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna push your ass down. Like
yeah,
and that was an incredible fight. At least we got to see it.
yeah,
And I would like to see more fights like that being made.
Yeah, because that one pushed into regular, not just it's boxing. It was like, hey, are you guys watching this Wilder Fury fight? Hey, did you see the first one? Did you see how he knocked out two guys after that? Did you see Fury win? Did you? It was being pushed mainstream where people that don't normally follow it were like, no, this Saturday I'm gonna watch that fight. I'm not gonna do anything else. I'm gonna watch the fight. I'm gonna watch the fight. I'm paying attention to this, and it was one-sided, but it was exciting because the whole time you're thinking, man, if Wilder catches him though, will Fury get up this time? Will he get up? And then you see the right hand missing slightly, but then you get caught up in, man, this performance by Fury though. He did what he said he was gonna do. He said, I'm gonna go in here, I'm gonna beat him up. I'm gonna put on this weight, I'm gonna beat him up. You're like, okay, you're gonna get knocked out if you do that. And then he's doing it and you're like, okay, you know what? Give him his props. He's doing what he said he was gonna do.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely.
With a different game plan.
Yes.
Like,
it, I thought when he said that, I was like, no, you're not. You're not going to put yourself at that risk. You're too smart. And then I'm sitting there, I was like, all right, man. You got me. You got me. All right. You said you're going to do it, and you did it. Respect. And, yeah, and that's the thing is, people still after that, they were like, yeah, Wilder lost. I still think he beats Joshua. I still think he beats this guy. They're still saying, I still think he wins. He was a fighter who that one loss didn't shoot him down so bad until all these, YouTube and all these little trendy conspiracy theories come out about, oh, Fury had this in his gloves, Wilder had spiked drinks, and it's like, come on, man, he just lost. Like, take the loss and let's go. That's what really hurt it, as opposed to the performance. It was just, hey, Fury was better that night. Come back to the next one. But it's what happens. As you said, the hardcore fans, we seen it and we gave them his props. But people that just want to create something out of nothing, and especially that YouTube platform being used the wrong way when it comes to boxing, led to all these theories and all these things that make no sense at the end of the day. So, yeah, definitely. But, man, you and Broner.
I also feel like this. I also feel like this. And I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
Like, fighters and promoters kind of like the plateau level fighters, they kind of just like leave them so far alone that like you never really see their true potential.
Yep.
Because nobody wants to fight them.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wants to fight Lomachenko. Like, it's like, oh, thank God he lost one. Oh God. All right. Nobody. No, let's just not say. Let's not say a word.
Yeah.
No, like okay, like, and then we're talking about all these other fighters at the lightweight division. Hold up, so everybody's gonna sit here and forget about Lomachenko? Like, let's just remember this. Like, that man Lomachenko messed around and beat every single one of them. So why are we just completely like trying to forget him?
Yeah.
These fighters don't want to really fight the best, As far as the Lomachenko fight, like, I get it with the whole promotion and, oh yeah, the contract said this and this and this and this and that. Look, Lomachenko, it got a little too full of himself.
Yep.
And yeah, he definitely deserves a little payback. But you guys should definitely fight that fight over again. Like, what I mean? He was the unified champion and the undisputed champion for a minute, and he deserves his credibility. He deserves another shot. And if anything, all these other fighters should be talking about, yeah, now since he beat him, like, why don't I beat him? No, nobody even has like a hope in hell of beating that man. So okay. It's just like, I want to see people that have the tenacity to even speak these guys' names.
Yeah.
Like Lomachenko, once he takes a loss, because it's not the best day in the world, for him. It wasn't a great day for him that night, So what's going to happen now? Oh, let's just completely forget about him. And that's kind of like what they did with Deontay Wilder. It's like, okay, finally somebody beat this man. Now let's not talk about him ever again, because if he hits somebody with that right hand, they're definitely hitting the deck. So, and we can't have that mess.
Yeah.
No, come on. I think we gotta have better than that.
Yeah, and I think though to an extent with both of them, it was the way they handled themselves after the loss. Lomachenko went with CompuBox, pushed him off. Promotions did this. They were trying to push him out. All these things. It was like, no, dude, you didn't throw a punch until the sixth round. By then, Teofimo had got all his confidence and just kept working you. Yeah, you made it close, but he won at least 8 rounds of that fight because of the work he did. Wilder, same thing. He lost, and at first he was like, he was a better man. I'll come back. But then he goes with, they spiked my drinks. They did this and that. My gloves were or his gloves had egg weights and all this. Like, come on, man. Just take your loss and let's go. Come back, run it back, and let's see it again. But yeah, to that point, it was everybody else was like, they lost. Don't bring their names up again. Let's talk about these other guys. Let's talk about these guys fighting each other. It's like, no, give him a chance. Run him. If you think you're better than Teofimo, beat Lomachenko worse. Knock him out. Let's see you do that. If you think you're better than Fury, Fury's got Joshua. Go fight Wilder and knock him out and see if you can do that. But these guys aren't doing that, and that's to your point. Do better. Show the tenacity. Show I'm gonna one up you since I can't get you in the ring. To an extent, Wilder did that when he couldn't get a fight with Joshua. He fought Dominic Brazil, knocked him out in 1 round, and Joshua did it in 7.5 rounds, and it was a closer fight. So that was one guy who said, I can't get you in the ring. I'm going to fight a past opponent of yours, and I'm going to do worse than what you did. And he definitely did. So that's to your point that you're talking about. Show me something, man. Show me something that nobody else wants.
I have like so much respect for Deontay Wilder because like you can't say anything about this man. Like he couldn't get the fight with Anthony Joshua. So what did he do? He take the hardest fight possible, the other fight that could possibly be made, in Tyson Fury, and he wasn't afraid to fight this man again.
Yeah,
he undisputedly, he definitely won the first fight. I mean, come on, that man was on the canvas for 15 seconds, flat, like like it was an incredible fight. Losing the whole time and then knock him down, and then losing the whole time and then knock out, and then it goes, and then it's, of course it becomes a draw and all that stuff, and it was great. That was drama and excitement, and he really didn't have to do that again.
Yeah,
Deontay Wilder did not have to fight this man again. Really didn't. He didn't have nothing to prove. Like okay, how many seconds was he on the canvas for again? Oh, it was a 10 count, a count of 10 of oh no, shut the hell up. We're counting seconds. Yeah. Like that's the reason why we have it. Yeah. What are they counting? Are they just counting just the count, or are they counting seconds? Look, they're counting seconds. That man was on the ground for longer than 10 seconds. What's fair is fair, Yeah. And he didn't have to do that. So with that being said, I gave big credit to that man. I gave big credit to Deontay Wilder. And honestly, even Lomachenko fought a tough fight in that kid. Yeah. And he lost. He underestimated the tenacity of that guy. Yeah. Teofimo is no joke. And he shows it. Every fight that he fought was a knockout. So that was a dangerous opponent, if anything. I love the tenacity of those characters, and I think like the tenacity of fighters should be more rewarded because it's those type of fighters that are going out and trying to put on a big show, to trying to find the toughest competition out there. Terence Crawford is trying his best to find the toughest competition out there. I mean, again, over and over and over again, he keeps calling Errol Spence out. What is the deal?
It's just not going down.
It's just not going down. Like, he must be okay now since he's fighting Danny Garcia instead of Terence Crawford. Because before, when he wasn't okay, it's like, okay, Terence Crawford. That's not right.
Yeah.
That's not right. Come on.
Yeah, and that's the fight that hardcore fans and even casuals would tune into, because it's really right now 1 and 1A at 147 if those two were to get in the ring. You mentioned Ugas. Ugas is being positioned possibly to go in with Spence next, which again leaves Crawford without a major fight possibly. But I mean, I would love to see. Overall, right now, the fight I would love to see is them two. But if it doesn't happen, I mean, there's so many more fights that we are getting. My one I'm looking forward to the most is two fights under 147 is actually Jose Ramirez and Josh Taylor, and El Gallito Estrada and Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez. Those are my two favorite fights that I'm so pumped up for right now, because they're gonna happen. They're the best fighters at their class, and they're gonna do it. So we still got that to look forward to.
Absolutely, there's a lot of good fights being out there that's being made. I'm thankful that Golden Boy is doing their thing.
Yeah.
To try to put out the best possible fights out there. And the Zone Network is doing their thing and trying to put out the best fights possible. PBC, they're kind of playing game a little bit. Honestly, I can see that they're kind of playing game, but I feel like everybody's working the best that they possibly can. Yeah. But we need to bridge those gaps in between promotions and networks. We need to bridge those gaps so we can get these fighters to their full potential. We're never going to see another Mayweather or another Muhammad Ali or another Hector Camacho if we don't have these big fights happen. If we don't have these big fights happen, you don't have anything. And that's why, like, even with me and my persona and where I come from and the type of avenue that I'm taking, my fans are not political. Okay? I don't have just, one race of fans. Yeah. I don't have just one type of fans. I am a multi-dimensional character, and I am beyond the sport of boxing. I am entertainment at its best, and that's what I try. That's what I'm going for. I'm going for the true champion's title, and if you're not going for that, if you're not trying to be the best, what are you trying to do? And I hope that other fighters start to learn from my success.
Definitely, and that's going to be something that is going to be definitely fun and exciting to see going forward over this year and hopefully years going forward, man. One question, because this is something that I always like to ask the fighters. I don't think you struggle to make weight, but when you're in camp training to make 147 or wherever you're going to fight at, after your weigh-in, what's the first go-to meal that you go to?
Oh, man. I don't even know. It's all about water at this point, I don't even know. Like one of my favorite things to eat is like rotisserie chicken.
Okay.
Things like that. I don't even know, but I know one thing: when I see a fighter that's drinking a milkshake, oh yeah, I got him.
You know what's funny is Keith Thurman, when he fought Pacquiao, I was making something to eat. We're gonna watch it. My fiance's in the living room. She's watching it, and she looks up and she goes, "Hey, who's the favorite in this fight?" And I was like, "Oh, Thurman." And she goes, "He's gonna get dropped. He's gonna lose." And I was like, "Why?" And I look, and Thurman's sitting there on the way to the fight, eating a pizza in the car. She goes, "He's gonna get beat. He's overconfident eating the pizza. And why would you eat a pizza before a fight?" And I was like, "Yeah, you're probably right, but we'll see." And then Pacquiao comes out and drops him. I'm like, "Damn." Like, okay, yeah. And since then, I've always thought about that. When I go to weigh-ins and I see the guys after, I pay attention to what they eat, and that's why I asked that question, because there's been those guys that are like, "Oh, I'll go in there and eat a hamburger from this place, or I'll eat this," and then I hear, "Oh, I eat chicken, or I eat steak," something that's not gonna make you drag. So I always pay attention to that, and that's why I always like asking the fighters, "What do you eat after weigh-ins?" Because I want to know where your mind's at. And yeah, as you said, the dude drinking a milkshake, you're like, "Okay, I got you." And when Thurman was eating a pizza, I was like, "Oh man."
The average thing.
Yeah. As soon as I see that, I'm like,
so I try to eat the same shit, like the same stuff that I eat throughout the camp. I try to get the exact same meals that I would usually eat in general. Maybe ramp up the carbs a little bit more sweet potatoes or a little bit more of whatever carb that I'm eating. And but for the most part, I try to keep it as basic, as simple as possible. Um, and I try to make sure that I have good quality liquids coming in. But the thing is, I'm not really having a hard time making
Yeah.
147 at all. You know, that's like a very, very natural weight for me. And that's why, like, when you see me in a weigh-in, I like to mess with people's heads, like,
Yeah, man.
because
I've
I'm
seen
a
that.
basket case in general. I'm a basket case, anyways. So,
Yeah.
like, you know, so I'll be like at the weigh-in, I will drink some water, eat some food. I would like eat a cookie right in front of my opponent's face, and then throw the crumbs in his face,
Yeah.
and then step on the scale and be perfectly at work
Yeah.
at weight, because I actually came there underweight. So
Yeah.
I came there so I can eat in front of everybody else before the weigh-in and fuck with everybody's mind.
Yeah.
Like people, you know, it's either you gonna love it or you gonna extremely hate it.
Yeah.
But like, for one thing's for certain, I'm a pain in the ass.
Yeah, and and the other thing is you're gonna watch regardless. Once you see what you do, everybody's like, "I'm gonna see if he wins," or "I hope he gets knocked out for doing that." But you're bringing the eyes to the fight, so yeah, man. I got one more question, man. I got my boy Rick V here. He told me this the other day. He wants to know: can you or have you learned since you were in Mexico for so long? Can you speak Spanish pretty fluidly?
Like, it was a time period where I was like, it got to a point where I was thinking in Spanish.
Mm-hmm. Oh wow.
Like I had lost my own language. I stopped speaking English altogether because I didn't have that many friends. I didn't have that many people to talk to. And even when I was sleeping, dreaming, I was dreaming in Spanish at times. But like, I had lost the language over time, because I ended up living in Philadelphia. I ended up going
Yeah.
back to square one from New York to Philadelphia, and I didn't have any Spanish speaking friends or anything like that to keep up with the language. But one thing's for certain, I'm definitely getting back in my schooling and getting back to focusing on truly understanding the language, and getting uh more fluid in the language. That's so, you know, right now I don't have the courage. That's really what it is. Cause it's really the courage of speaking Spanish. Cause back when I was a kid, you know, and mind you, I was going to high school, and I was an actual kid in Mexico
Yeah.
and I spent years there. I spent years in Mexico as a child, and I didn't speak the language that well, so I always got made fun of.
Well,
I
yeah.
got made fun of. I got bullied all the time, and you know, so the like, you know, so it kind of made me scared to speak.
Okay, okay. And you know that is true. Once you're trying to learn a new language, especially I tell people adults aren't the worst ones. Kids can be straight up assholes, man. Cause man, I remember seeing that the kids that would come from Mexico trying to learn English and people are laughing at them. I'm like, dude, you know how hard it is to try to learn another language? Like, that's crazy. So yeah, like me too to this day, I could speak Spanish fluidly, but there's times where I'm like, nah, man, I don't know what he's trying to say. So I'm just, I don't know what you're saying, bro. So I'll just stay quiet because I don't want to sound dumb to them. Same thing. I get like, oh man, I don't got the courage to do it. And there's times where I'm just like, ah, screw it. But definitely, you don't want to sound dumb to somebody else in their own language.
Yeah, and you know, it's one of those things, and everybody has like their different type of accents and cultures that they came from. And I come from the Mexican culture.
Yeah,
We cuss like 90% of the time, like
yeah,
90% of my 90% of my vocabulary are curse words. So it's just like, you know, it's just a different environment. So like, when I come back to the United States, and there's multi different like backgrounds.
yeah.
Not everybody's Mexican, not everybody's truly Mexican in general. Like, some of these people are just like choppy in every which way. So like, so I can't really, I try not to talk because like, it's just, I gotta get a lot more confident in
Yeah.
it, you know, and then also trying to master understanding other people's language and how
Yep.
they break down their
Yeah.
dialogue. So it's 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 a challenge.
Yeah.
It's a challenge. I'm up for it though, because I know a lot of my fans are Spanish fans, and I look forward to truly captivating you guys and talking to you guys on a heart to heart level. I want to soon get to the point. It's sometime next year at this specific time next year. I want to be able to have these conversations that we're having together in Spanish
Okay.
completely.
Okay. Definitely.
I might even go back. I'm thinking about going back to Mexico and just learning Spanish there and just staying there for a little bit. I still have family out there, you know.
Okay.
I still have siblings and family members
Okay.
in Mexico, you know. So I might just stay out there for a little bit. Who knows?
Yeah, and I mean, you would again. You already have a good fan base from the Spanish culture that'll help you expand. And to your point, as you were saying, the difference is one thing that I always learned is Mexican slang for certain words and other Spanish cultures for certain words. Their slang is completely different. I had a teacher who told me, in Spanish, if in Mexico, if you say I just came from the bote, that means I just came out of jail. You know, well, my Spanish teacher growing up was Puerto Rican, so he was telling me the first time he met his wife's family, she's Mexican. They said, "Oh, where did you come? How are you here?" And he said, "Oh, I just got out the boat about 3 weeks ago." And he was saying, "I just came from the boat. I just came to the U.S. off of this ship. With everybody else." And the family said, "Man, you just came over here and married this criminal ass dude from Puerto Rico. Like, what the hell's wrong with you?" And he later found out what it meant. He was like, "Man, no wonder they didn't like me at first." Like, and that's the thing. You could say something and think, oh, especially in the U.S., it's not just Mexican. It's Honduran, Guatemalan, El Salvador, Puerto Rico, all these different countries that are Latin American. And you say something thinking it's one particular type of Latin America and it's somebody else, and you're like, oh, okay, that's what that means. Yeah, I gotta watch that. And as you said,
Even in
yep,
Mexico, there's like people talk different in Guadalajara compared to people that talk in like Mexico City.
mm-hmm,
You know, and people that talk like and how they talk like right there at the border at like let's say Tijuana
mm-hmm,
is they have a slight different like way different accent
yeah,
and and sometimes that kind of throws me off. It throws me off of my understanding of the language. So it's just trying to get there to a point where I'm more confident to be able to have these conversations and and me not understand and break it down. I can't see one of the bad things that people do when they're learning a new language is that like you say something and then they listen to it and then convert it to whatever language that they speak,
yeah,
and then they have to convert. Then they have to have like a let's say their answer to whatever that
yep,
they're saying their response, and then they have to convert that,
yeah,
and then speak it. No, I have to be able to be completely. I have to bridge that gap completely to be truly bilingual. So it's just getting through that time period. Like I go to a Spanish church. You know, a lot of the wisdom that I like I get from God is from a Spanish church. So they speak Spanish. So like
yeah,
it's funny. It's funny how that works.
yeah,
Like there is no language when it comes to boxing. It's just
yeah.
boxing.
It's boxing.
There is no language when it comes to God. It's just God.
Yep,
Like you can feel it. You
yeah,
can feel it. You can feel what they're saying. You
definitely,
know, including what paragraph in the Bible.
yeah,
But
yeah,
you get how
definitely.
that is.
Yeah, it's just certain things. It's a universal language, as they would say. Boxing, church, it's a universal. You don't need to know it from heart. You just walk in there and you automatically know. I got you. I know what you're saying. I know what you're trying to do. So definitely, especially to that point, trainers and fighters are not always from the same area, same country, but they know what they're trying to do. So yeah, boxing is that universal language, and it shows up a lot. They're clowning me here for my baby Yoda in the background right here. His name is Grogu. That's my boy. Got my other one right here and this one right here. I got a little problem with these things. I got like 12 up here on the wall too, so I got a lot of different things up here. Yeah, well we got a baby Groot up here. All right, hold on, let me see. I got two of them actually.
Wow.
So you got that one and then got this one.
So cute.
Yeah, so
That's one of my favorite characters.
yeah, that's my daughter. She loves the Avengers right now. She's going through her Captain Marvel phase. So anything that comes on, hey, put the song on. Put on Captain Marvel song, and I'm like, what? Oh, no doubt, okay. But that's her thing right now. She wants to watch that. She's gone through Guardian of the Galaxy probably 100 times. Iron Man probably 100 times in Iron Man. Now she's on Captain Marvel every night. Can you put that movie on? Okay. And I'm an Avengers fan, so I'm like, I'm not going to complain. I'd rather watch this than the YouTube thing she watches. So let's lay down and watch a movie. So that's definitely right now what we got.
That's fun.
Yeah. So, man, again, Blair, thank you so much for coming on today, man. This is one of the interviews I've been looking forward to the most. I was really excited to get you on. Again, I got a lot of people pumped up telling me, oh, I'm definitely watching. So I appreciate the energy you bring, man. Appreciate you seeing you in the ring. And before we head out, man, is there anything you want to say? And then all the social media sites to let them know where to follow you as well.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure being on 26 Sports Live. And hey, once again, must know that it is the most exciting man in boxing, Blair the Flair Cobbs. You can check me out on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, whatever you got, YouTube at Blair the Flair. And for more exciting content, BlairTheFlair.com, and also the official Blair the Flair website, BlairTheFlair.com. Thank you so much for having me on. And once again, we're going to have to give you the great one. Woo! Because it's always, I only do better, baby.
Yeah, man, definitely. So thanks again for everybody for tuning in today. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. We got some fights on in a little bit. And Blair, again, thanks, man, for tuning in. So this is Mike Rether with 26 Sports, and I'll